Becoming is better than being. And that's precisely why we consider ourselves to always be a work in progress. It means that you are never complete and you always have the opportunity to become someone better.
Indeed, it gives you the ability to be comfortable while making mistakes and accepting yourself for who you are.
Oh, we are work in progress. I am MC Squared.
I'm AX.
And I am GK. Welcome to the show. So, MC Squared, we're good to see you back. I think this is your first time
With me.
sitting with AX. So this should be a very interesting combination. I'm looking forward to seeing the chemistry right there. So,
Yeah, thanks.
Aye, what have I done to you? The show has barely begun.
Nothing.
No, such fujo. Go. GK, you were saying.
Let's move on to the first thing we'll do before we get into the conversation to warm us up.
Okay.
This is something that you guys played before, but I wasn't here, so it's not counted. Because
What?
it only counts when GK is here.
So basically all of modern history since like 1995 doesn't exist.
Check the guidelines of what
No, my
in progress
problem-
will see. It only matters if GK is around.
My problem is actually you have the language to say that, and you are not here when language was invented.
Oh, okay.
Think.
Thank you very much. So we'll get into it. So it is the tongue twisters. Basically,
Oh my
we've been
God.
shared a few tongue twisters, and then we shall read them one by one.
Okay.
See who does best.
Okay.
So the first one, it'll be me to read it. Okay. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he?
Okay, I'm going to need
Jesus.
to.
MC squared. I'm
On
looking
this
forward.
one, I have nothing to lose.
Okay.
I absolutely. Oh my goodness. You guys are setting me up for failure, man.
Just try.
Just try.
Okay. A big black bear sat on a big black rug.
I thought we were reading the first one.
Yeah, I want you to read the
Oh,
first
it's
one
also
as
the
well.
first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy. Oh my god. It's fuzzy, no?
It's
fuzzy.
fuzzy.
Oh. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair.
Okay.
Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy. Was he?
Hey, good job. Well done.
Why am I here?
80%. I'll give you 80%.
Okay.
AX, you're the one who's supposed to be good at English, so let's see how you do.
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a fuzzy Wuzzy.
60%.
Ah,
Yeah,
jealous
there we
much.
go. Okay, we'll go to the third one because
No, actually, I like
Mr.
it.
Stats.
I liked it.
This
Okay,
one.
I've been informed by one of our super producers that we actually need to be able to say the phrase 3 times fast.
Oh, it's 3 times
3
fast.
times fast. This is
Okay.
what happens when you claim a game does not exist
Okay.
until
Because
you
it
get
was
here.
not
Okay,
there.
sour. So this is the second one that Mr.
You already
Stats
started.
had already started. So I'll go and then we'll go back to you, Mr. Stats.
Okay.
Okay. A big black bear sat on a big black rug. A big black bear sat on a big black rug. A big black. Okay.
It just came. It just came. It just came.
That one.
Came.
There's no hope.
A big black. Ooh,
Already failed.
No. I gotta try again. A
Okay.
big
No,
black
your second
bear.
time.
Yeah,
Your second time.
a big black bear sat on a big black rug. A big black bear sat on a big black rug.
That's
a
already
big black
another
bear
failure.
sat on a big black rug.
No, I think that's.
It's
a failure.
called sticking with it.
Okay.
Resilience.
Okay, let's
You
go.
guys do not like me at all. Let's just do this. Man.
Okay.
A big black bear sat on a big black rug. A big black bear sat on a big black rug. A big black bear sat on a big black rug.
He said it best. He
That's
said
best,
it best.
actually.
Yeah, you said it best.
Yes.
Mr. Stats.
Oh, my tongue is not
I think
twisted
it's
at
because
all.
he had practice with the
Okay,
first
you
line
know what?
first.
You know what? Could you stop confusing the audience? His name is not Mr. Stats. His name is.
Mr. MC squared. I
There's no
apologize.
Mr.
Okay.
But
MC
him is a work
MC
in progress. So
And you are not?
I'm not the complete works of
He
God.
said he's a masterpiece.
Oh, you're a masterpiece.
He's a
Yes,
masterpiece.
the
I
complete works
apologize.
of
I
God.
apologize. I didn't know we had royalty right in front of us. Anyways, this one I should get easy, okay? Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter is bitter. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter is bitter. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that
You
didn't go.
failed. He has failed.
He has failed.
He
Okay.
has failed.
Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. It got faster. It's nice.
You know, okay. Mr. MC squared, kindly. Okay.
I'm suffering. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter.
One more time.
Betty Butter bought some butter, but
I know you're saying it right. It just sounds so wrong.
But she said the butter's bitter.
Bitter.
Oh, okay. I think.
Final one. AX,
yeah.
why don't you start with the final one?
Oh, this is long. It's
so
the
here we
longest
go.
one. Okay. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot.
You have failed.
Yeah,
I'm reading it for the first time. You
have
try.
failed,
You
have
try.
Observe, okay?
And observe and fail.
All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper coffee pot. I
Out.
may be off
Ouch.
my dot,
I
but I
paused
want
the
a cup
exact.
of coffee.
I paused
from
at
a
the
proper coffee
exact.
pot.
I paused at the exact same place, and you said it said it didn't count.
Okay, Mr. Stats,
That's not his name. Can you stop confusing our audience?
MC Square.
Thank you.
I don't know why he's attacking me. All I want is a
Yep, and there we have it. It's concluded. I think it's a total failure from all of us, but it's okay. The reason that we were doing these tongue twisters was to warm us up to the conversation that we're about to hold. Now, the 21st of February is February is always known for the month of love, but February has a number of big things. It's known for Black History Month, but one big date that we sort of ignore every year on the 21st of February is International Mother Tongues Day. There's been a day that has been set up holistically to celebrate the mother tongue. So, what do you guys, AX, why don't you tell us what a mother tongue is?
So a mother tongue is the first language that a baby typically speaks. Now, I've always thought that when I think of the word mother tongue, I think of like a traditional African language or an indigenous language, but mother tongues also include English, French, Japanese, Korean, like all these other languages. So do you guys know your mother tongues? Can you speak your mother tongues? Can you read in your mother tongues? Can you hear your mother tongues? There we go, that's the last one.
Okay, what do you think?
So I have a question first.
Okay.
So, is mother tongue just one language, or I can have like 10 mother tongues that I
I
speak?
think it's about the language your parents speak.
Actually, it's debated. It's debated. When I was doing some research, some people say that your mother tongue, as long as they're simultaneously being learned at the same time. So if you speak, if it was Kiswahili and Kiembu, for example,
Yes.
then it's fine. Those are both your mother tongues.
Okay.
I think.
Oh,
So now you can answer her question.
Yes, I can absolutely speak my three mother tongues, yes.
Okay. What are the? You can speak 3 mother tongues.
That's impressive.
Yes.
It's very impressive.
Yes.
That means you can speak 5 languages?
Possibly if you add tongues.
Yeah.
Whoever got that, I'm very pleased that they did. Okay.
Okay.
So
Speaking in tongues, like you mean speaking in tongues,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So mother tongue.
Okay.
I have always struggled with the ability to speak in my mother tongue because not because of want of trying. I think at first there was sort of a gap. You're sort of trained to speak one way. Education tells you to speak these 2 languages. In Kenya, you have to speak 2 languages.
Yes.
And at home, they sort of push you to speak those 2 languages, that you sort of forget your mother tongue. And that happened to me to an extent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me just be very honest. The only language I can speak very, very, very well is English.
Really?
Imagine, yeah. So when I was a kid, my first language was actually Swahili, but my family relocated to the Netherlands, and there we kind of stopped speaking Swahili, and then I learned to speak Dutch. And then when I moved back to Kenya, I could understand Swahili, but my speaking was just abysmal. I could speak English really well, and I could speak Dutch. Now it's been, I think, over a decade and change, and now I can't speak Dutch anymore.
So you just speak.
I just speak English. Yeah.
Okay, but the whole
But I have a problem. But can now we say that your Dutch is part of your mother tongue?
I don't think so. I think Dutch is a language I learned based on where I was living. I don't think it counts as my
No, I don't
mother
think so.
tongue,
Yes.
right?
Doesn't.
For example, like, okay, how many, you said you speak 3 mother tongues,
I
yeah?
can speak Kimeru.
Okay.
I can speak Kikuyu.
Okay.
I can speak Kiswahili. Yes.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. You count Swahili as a mother tongue. Interesting.
We should,
It is a mother tongue. But one of the reasons we're talking about mother tongues is because more and more, as we are looking into life, we're realizing that mother tongues are disappearing. There's a statistic that suggests that every 2 weeks, and mother tongue goes extinct. These are locations in places like Malaysia and Thailand, like 70% of the languages that were spoken in the indigenous places in those countries have disappeared. They're gone forever. And the question I have, and I'll ask this to both of you, is the mother tongue, how important is it in the process of communication? Should we just let some of those big languages, some of our historic languages disappear? Or is there something we're losing? Is there a cultural heritage that we're losing as we stop speaking these languages as well? What do you think, MC Squared?
Number one, I think we should not lose our mother tongues because they are a form of what identifies me as a person.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest problems we have right now in language is the fact that if the Nigerians take your English, they'll speak it in a Nigerian way.
Yes.
Right? And most of the times we find offense with that.
Do we?
Some do. For example, if the black American people take English, for example, they speak it in their own
style.
And I feel for every language we have on earth, instead of losing it, why can't I take French and speak it in my own mother tongue way?
So saying there's a mix, there's sort of a shift, a mix between traditional mother tongues and the languages that we speak, converting that way. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I feel to preserve mother tongues, at some point we'll have to start thinking of mergers, for example, in business.
Like pidgin. Like, for example, pidgin. You know what pidgin is?
Yeah, it's broken English.
But from what country? There's a very particular country it's from.
Sierra Leone or Liberia?
I think it's Nigeria.
Nigeria. Oh.
Yeah, because I only learned about pidgin because like BBC has translated every single piece of news they produce into pidgin.
Yes.
And they've done that for Swahili, they've done that for Afrikaans, for Zulu, for a whole bunch of other languages. So maybe that's another way we can restore the use of mother tongues.
Yes.
Because I know for a fact that like having a Kikuyu Bible has helped my mom really practice reading Kikuyu, speaking Kikuyu, that kind of poetic.
But I think also there's something about the messaging that comes from speaking in your mother tongue that can't be replicated when you translate it into something else.
Yes.
For example, President Kenyatta last week gave a speech at Sagana, and he spoke in his mother tongue. And what was interesting to many of us is seeing the response by many of the people in terms of not what he spoke to the head, but what he spoke to the heart.
Actually, I have a quote about that. That exact thing from Nelson Mandela. It says, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, it goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to the heart.
Exactly. And I think that's the power of the mother tongue. It goes beyond just speaking it. It speaks to a heart. It speaks because your culture and your identity is located in your mother tongue, in the languages that you interacted with when you were a young child.
Yeah.
And so it's much more important to hold on to them.
There is a theory that there are some expressions you express better in your mother tongue, for example.
Okay.
Like someone will start speaking and then their English sort of stops.
And then your other one kicks in.
So Saldana was giving that experience that she'll be told to like jump over a cliff when they are shooting, say a movie.
Yeah.
And some curses she loved to do them in her
mother tongue, in Spanish.
Yeah, in Spanish. It's the only way like she gets it out of her system. Yes.
Actually, so on the subject of President Kenyatta, I have noticed something really interesting about him. Have you heard, like, the man is obviously quite intelligent. He is multilingual. Like, he can speak Kikuyu, English, and Kiswahili that I know of, right? But if you notice, the way he speaks English in Kenya is not the way he speaks English out there.
Oh,
now, that is something called code switching. And code switching,
What's
to
code
me,
switching?
I found hilarious. Code switching
Hilarious.
is literally... No, I find it hilarious because I see it with people I interact with on a daily basis.
Yes.
Because code switching, number one, is normally based... You alter the way you speak based on the location you are in.
Yeah.
To convey the message better.
Yeah.
So what I loved is when I used to be young and my parents would get a business call.
Yeah.
They'd be talking to me with my very Kenyan accent, very rough. Then they'll be, hello, this is whatever speaking. This is how we speak. They lower their tone. They break down the accent to sound a bit more British. I think code switching has become a part of culture. Whether it's accepted or not, it has become part of culture.
Is it a part of culture or is it a means for survival, right? Because I remember when I was definitely abroad, I got this sense that if I... okay, first of all, I've always kind of had this accent. Like, there's no Kenyan variant of this.
I hear some Kenyan in there.
Okay, but...
Nooks and crannies.
But I remember just living with this feeling that I had to sound like them. I had to change the way I sounded, change the way I interacted, so that I could be accepted by my white friends. And then also my African friends, it would all come out a completely different way because that's how I learned how to navigate social situations by code switching. And it helped. I mean, I survived. I'm not sure if I thrived, but I survived.
Did they ask you to like be African? For example, if you go to the white friends, they ask you to okay, we can hear you. But when you come back to the Africans, do they tell you?
No, here's the thing. It's not something that is ever asked of me. It's just this feeling that you get, right? That if you don't put on a particular accent, if you don't use your best English words, if you're not super careful, I even like change the pitch of my voice. When I'm around white people, I make it a little bit higher, so they're not as afraid of me.
Why?
I speak a little bit softer, so they're not afraid of the angry black woman. Like you temper everything down.
So is that your own identity crisis?
First of all,
That's interesting. That's interesting to
First
think
of
of it as
all,
an identity crisis.
it's a little bit of an identity crisis.
it's not an identity. It's called
let's ask us-
survival.
No, really,
what's
we
the
have this problem here because yours is international. So do I, a person like myself who has, for example, the Kimeru accent, it's really nice, yeah? At home, I love to speak with that accent because otherwise
no one will understand you.
No, they'll even tell you you're pretending that you went and learned English.
It's true.
Yeah? But then I come here and I meet you people and I have to sort of sense my thickness, the thickness of my accent.
I think
Otherwise you guys
Thank
will
you.
not
double
understand me.
No, but like that's the thing. I think what you've touched upon is this idea that because human beings are like social creatures, we often change our behavior based on the kind of people we're around, and we often change it so that we're more accepted by those people, so that we actually have a community, because community is very important to us as social creatures.
But actually speaking on the accents, you know, in school, we used to have teachers who'd come from all facets of life. And when they'd come, the funny thing is when a teacher would come with like a British, very refined accent, you're like, this teacher is probably a very smart teacher. In fact, your parents are telling you, go to that teacher.
I see where you're going.
Then the teacher comes with a very, very difficult accent. And immediately two things happen to your head. Number one, you undermine his intellectual ability. You start to look and you're wondering how smart is this teacher if they can't even speak English properly.
Yes.
Number two, students and of course teenagers sometimes, truth of the matter is teenagers can be a bit challenging in terms of as they're growing.
Teenagers are nightmares.
They can be a nightmare in terms of relations. So you'd speak and then you'd make fun of the teacher because he has an accent. Yet he can speak 3 languages or maybe 4 or 5 languages.
Yes.
You can speak 1, maybe 2. And so I wanted to ask you, especially Mr. Stats, did you feel a bit of pressure from when you interacted with different people to feel bad about where you come from? Do you feel and the accents you have? Did you ever have that pressure?
I do all the time. You'd receive a call from those Uber call centers, and this person is speaking Indian. And you have to sort of start thinking of a way, how do I communicate with this person? Leave even the Indians alone. Even a person will call you from abroad, for example, and wants to discuss something. Actually went for an interview where they did an all-white interview. Oh. And I just finished college, so my accent was there, full force. So you had to repeat.
This is not full force now.
Aye, silly.
No,
Why are you
really.
coming for him?
No, really. No, really.
Leave him.
You have to repeat everything you're saying, otherwise they'll not understand you.
Oh, that must be terrible.
Very,
Yeah.
very, very. I have a dream that one day my child will not be judged by the sound of her accent.
But you see, that's the question. That's what we should be going towards. Instead of looking at the accents, because accents bring culture, accents bring identity. Instead of looking at the accent and judging them based on where they come from, it's sort of embracing them instead.
Yes.
Okay, I think that is a really good point to end the discussion, because if we keep going on, we can literally keep exchanging experiences, explaining why accents matter, why they don't matter, because you think they don't matter. We know that they do. So we'll leave. So like, why don't you let us know? Do you guys think accents matter in your life? Have you ever been treated differently because you sounded different? You can reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll be more than happy to get back
And in
to
the
you.
comments.
Yeah, please.
Okay, we'll be back after this. Welcome back to Work in Progress. So before we go into our final segment of the show, Mr. MC Squared gave me such a hard time about something that I didn't, and it wasn't even me, but I didn't allow him to speak about. So MC Squared, you have 3 minutes, exactly 3 minutes, to tell us what you wanted to talk about.
I wish we were colonized by China.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Yeah. I could be better at math because that would be the language we speak.
But your name is MC Squared.
But isn't
Aren't you good at math already?
Also, isn't that a stereotype?
Possibly, but I wish we were. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Number one, many theories are put forward to explain why the Asian people are very good
at math,
math
and numbers.
And one of the things that have been put forward is their language. Because in China, how, for example, we say 20, to them they understand is 2 tens.
So they're always doing math whenever they have
But
two
aren't there
numbers.
also some indigenous languages that have the exact same way of counting?
I think,
Some, for example, Singapore, Japan, their languages are really easy.
Wait, but like even in French, I think like 80 is like 420. If that makes sense, like vent est something, vent a it's on your screen. I just don't know what it is.
No, you guys, now I want to ask you, and if you you agree with me. Number one, for example, if I asked you to add 25 and 34, you'd have to
59.
you'd have to convert that to numbers. But in China, you'll only ask them, add 3 tens and 2. The other one was 2 20s and
1 5 plus 3
and
tens
5.
and a 4.
That sounds more complicated.
It's not. It actually goes like 5 tens because you're adding 2 tens and 3 tens. The other one is just 5 plus 4, and it's 59.
So you're basically suggesting that language can have the ability of improving certain skills that people may have.
Exactly.
Because it makes things easier.
Which makes me wonder, are there aspects of our language, are there places or fields that we could excel at because of the language that we speak?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. I think it's your hypothesis is one that we can never really be proven, but I think it makes sense. I don't know if there's anything that's particular about our languages that could give us a bit of a shift up, but I think what you're saying makes sense, that there's maybe there can be a correlation between maybe like our communal dependence, our communal desires as people. Maybe that's because of the languages. I don't know. I'm speaking myself out of supporting you. I'm actually now disagreeing with you.
Okay, I think for me that it's entirely possible, and I'm going to be really quick about this because I know we don't have time. I think, for example, the Swahili language, right? The way that it's spoken, especially if you hear somebody from Tanzania speaking it, there's a certain musicality
like
to it. It's poetry, which to my mind suggests that if somebody were to really try writing poetry in Swahili, it might be far easier to do so than in English. Not me. I would find it harder, but I still think there's something about the Swahili language just makes it easier to tell stories in Swahili, to write songs in Swahili, to write poetry in Swahili.
And we all have Tanzanian music. So.
Yeah,
exactly. So, because of time, we're going to move on to the final segment of this show. And what we're going to do, since we've been talking about language, accents, and all these, and code switching, we're going to listen to some audios, which the people will also hear at the same time. And the job of us is to guess which location this audio comes from. Okay. Like in its English accents. Okay, we're gonna do I think 5, and then we'll see from there. Okay.
I'm excited. I love English accents. They're really funny.
One of them must be Texan.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Dizziness, as well as feelings of nausea and paranoia, can also be experienced.
Potentially.
It also affects the lungs because obviously it's ingested that way and can cause spasm
in the throat.
I'm
thinking it's Ireland.
Okay, so that's where we go. So what do you think, MC Squared?
That one is not American.
It is definitely not American.
It's from Canada.
I'm thinking it's Irish.
I agree. I think it's Irish.
I'm thinking it's Irish.
The answer is Irish. 1 point to AX. Next one.
It is just 2-3 years and then they're
India.
I don't think we need much more time.
No. It could also be Pakistan
it's
or
from
Nepal
Bangladesh.
Thank you. It could be Southeast Asia.
It's Indian. Come on, people.
We don't want to be racist and assume.
Okay.
It's from Bangladesh.
Next one.
Great fault of my own, I managed to skip Italy. So as I was going
I think this is
England. Yeah.
everyone was saying, what about Italy? And I was like,
I think it's British.
I think it's England.
Yeah,
England.
Yeah. Okay, two more.
Cases, we start at 9:15 in the morning and we usually finish by 3:15 in the afternoon.
America?
We've done a week's worth of cases in that day.
America. Or Canada, to be honest. It sounds the same to me.
American.
All right.
MC Squared, you're doing terrible.
I really want to say Texan, and there isn't one for Texas.
No.
Really?
Is the last one?
Either don't know the way home or they just want to
Sounds
stay on
Indian.
the mountain. So it's a little bit more difficult with the weather being so hot.
Scottish.
Welsh.
Scottish or Welsh.
I wanted to say it's Israeli.
What?
Let me think. Yes.
You know what?
It's Israeli. For
Mr.
God's
MC
sake.
Squared, it is Israeli.
It is.
Of course not.
It's Welsh. is unnecessary.
Oh my God, no, you didn't do that.
He did.
For the road, let's do one more. Just because you've made
Because
me
what
happy.
happened, you're on my side.
No, she was not.
Like, you feel sorry for me, no?
wait.
Okay,
Hang
here
on,
we
hang
go.
on.
Here we go.
Short notice. We were given an anonymous tip, and so we did a random search.
Is this German?
In your son's possession.
Give him a chance.
No.
Give him a chance.
So there we go.
I'm telling you, it's not mine.
Shut your mouth.
So please,
Tell us. What do you think that is?
because I have a guess.
We all have guesses. I think it's German. I think that's where you're gonna go.
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
It's from Switzerland.
It's from. And that is
Jamaican.
wrong. Mr. MC Squared. That is
Boomclot.
Jamaican. Come on. So we can say MC
It's
Squared.
Jamaican.
Yes.
You
Like,
got-
for example, Jamaican me crazy. Let's go.
Okay, so that's where we're gonna conclude Work in Progress. Thank
I'm
you
out.
so much for watching, and we will be here with you
I'm out,
next
you
time.
guys. I'm out.
Bye.
I'm out.